Tomas, what was so great about the Great American Bash?
What was so great about it is that we're we're reviewing a Fourth of July pay-per-view
Right?
a few days after Christmas.
Well, that's
Happy
how this
holidays, everybody.
that's how this
Happy holidays.
retrospective works. That's how
Yeah,
it
and I
works.
love it. I love
Yeah.
how sporadic it is, and I love how random it is. Happy holidays, everyone. Thank you for being patient with us with the holidays. There's a lot of craziness. I hope you had a great holiday, Zach, and I hope all of our viewers had a great
Oh,
holiday season. I
thank
had
you,
a great
man.
holiday. I'm still recovering from it. It feels so weird. I was off for a few days. I worked yesterday morning, and then I had today off, and I'm still like trying to get back in the groove. I'm kind of looking forward to life going back to normal. But yes, I hope you guys had a great holiday season. Also, sorry that I was like getting on. I kind of have a PS5 in the background with Spider-Man 2 on it, and that's going to be taking a good portion of my life. So professional wrestling needs to be here, so I'm not glued to that screen for 8 hours, because I had a coworker that said he bought that game day one and he played it for 12 hours straight. So I need some of this
Yeah.
to give myself a break.
Yeah, you kind of got to break up because I have a PS5 as well. Those of you who saw on Twitter, my mission was accomplished the day after Christmas. And, man, I've been glued to Spider-Man 2, and I just have not wanted to put the controller down. And it's freaking fantastic. It's one of the best games I think I've ever had the pleasure of going through so far. And I'm only up through, God, I mean, I don't even know if I want to spoil anything, but I'm only up through Harry Osborn hiring me at his startup. And I feel like I'm just getting started.
Let's just say I got finished with the boss battle that damn near made me tear up. This game is absolutely fucking fantastic. It feels like a 15-hour Spider-Man movie, and I love Spider-Man, and I could ask for nothing more. My girlfriend's the best girlfriend in the world for getting us this PS5.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank God for
Attaboy.
this and wrestling and work keeping me a little busy so I don't like finish this game in a whole sitting. But yes, and me and Zach also have AEW Fight Forever. I plan on picking up 2K23. And if you are interested in our PlayStation names, let us know in the comments, and maybe we can figure something out, like on Twitter or Instagram. I don't have a Twitter, but yeah, shoot us a DM. We'll add you, and we can play some matches online. That's something I've actually been wanting to give a shot. Is not against randos, because I know they will fucking murder you. Like, I played one game of 2K20 online, and they absolutely murdered me.
Yeah.
So I just want some casual online play. So if you're a homie, you want to play some Fight Forever, some WWE 2K23, hit us up. We will love to exchange names. But like I said, Zach, I hope you had a great holiday season.
Likewise, man. I share the same sentiment, and I hope all you viewers had a great holiday as well. I mean, I'm still kind of in that recovery phase, just kind of going back into work, and I'm just as loopy as I usually am when I go into my day job. But yeah, in addition to leaving your gamer tags down in the comments, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up. It would be a great help. Hopefully, yeah, I mean, it's looking like we're gonna hit 2,000 subscribers within the new year, which is just mind-blowing to me. Thank you all so much for all of your support through the 4 years that Tomas and I have been doing this and all this fun YouTube hoopla. But yeah, we're here to talk about a crappy SmackDown event, aren't we? Great American Bash 2005 from the HSBC Arena in Buffalo, New York, which is odd because it's the Great American Bash, and Michael Cole and Taz are just constantly hounding the Canadian fans on commentary. And I'm like, what does it matter? I know it's the Great American Bash, but that doesn't mean you have to hound Canadians the whole time. Like,
yeah, that was a very odd thing. But I'm going to have to disagree with you. I didn't hate the show. I thought the show was pretty decent. I thought there were some, I don't want to say hidden gems, but definitely some matches I sat here and I watched. I'm like, that was not terrible.
Yeah, I mean... I mean, just looking at this opener, looking at some of the matches on this card, and looking at some of the ramifications of one specific match, it's like, it's nuts. It is absolutely nuts. I
will say the show didn't age well. I will say that. But
you don't
I
say.
don't know. I'm just like, I feel like I looked at the show at a very optimistic view, and that doesn't happen always, because we've watched some garbage in this retrospective. We watched Judgment Day 2004. We've watched Great American Bash 2004. We've watched so many terrible shows that I feel like this is one where I managed to find the good in it. And
somehow, some way, but this opener was not amongst the good.
This was weird, and I feel like I've been listening to a lot of podcasts about wrestling when I was a teenager, and I feel like there was such this sense of innocence when I was that age that I couldn't see how garbage certain things were in wrestling. And this is
Me too.
to a more extreme extent because I was 11 years old when this show happened. And when this happened, I liked it. Now that I'm looking back on it, I still don't hate it, but it makes me wonder why. It is Eminem defending their WWE Tag Team titles, that's Mercury and Nitro, against the Legion of Doom. But
no, it's
how
not.
can you say that when
no, it's not.
May he rest in peace, Hawk has passed away? What was it, a year ago?
It was back in 2003 when Michael Hegstrand unfortunately suffered a heart attack at the age of 46. So that left Road Warrior Animal, who just recently passed away himself. Rest in peace, Road Warriors. That left him basically all alone without a tag team partner. So Vince McMahon was looking up and down the roster, and he saw that shitty John Heidenreich didn't have anything going on. He didn't work out as a singles heel. His singles babyface run was even worse, arguably. So they decided to.
I feel like Vince saw that small reaction he was getting at Judgment Day, and he thought he could go somewhere with this because he decides to team up Heidenreich and Animal. So imagine going up to Animal backstage and saying, "Hey man, we want to sign you back. We want to sign you back to a contract. We know your lifelong tag team partner that is basically a brother to you just passed away tragically a couple years ago. We're going to throw some guy with you, and we're going to revive the Legion of Doom. Sound good to you? All right, get out there and do your thing."
And they didn't even put Heidenreich in the face paint and the shoulder pads at this point either.
Yet.
Not yet. Not yet. I mean, like, at least when you throw, like, the shoulder pads and the spikes on Heidenreich and you shave his head into a mohawk and you paint his face up, at least he looks like a Legion of Doom member, but he just looks like terrible Heidenreich like he has been over the past year.
So I want to get all my feelings about this now because I think this is the only pay-per-view we're going to be talking about these new Road Warriors.
Nope.
But I will say, I want to talk about what I didn't hate about it. Number one, Heidenreich's little thing actually went well with the theme song.
No, it was a crappy version of the Legion of Doom's theme song too, because I'm thinking of like the 90s version of Legion of Doom. Like that's what I really think of. Oh, what a rush! It gets me so fired up, dude.
It's
but this version,
heavy version of it.
This version felt like Jim Johnston just took a nap while he was rewriting it in the studio, or re-recording it rather, and boom, you got this version.
I will say, not to bury the lead, but I do appreciate like the character development that went through this because, as you said, this is plain old Heidenreich. And as the weeks go on as this team, Animal does tell Heidenreich, you need to earn the face paint, you need to earn the spikes. You can never replace Hawk, but you need to earn the hairdo. And I do remember watching on WWE.com, and that was the way you like got to learn about the character development because there was this backstage segment where Heidenreich and Animal were talking. Animal's giving him a pep talk, and Animal screams at him, "You have earned your spikes," and he gives him the shoulder pad. So it was kind of neat to see Heidenreich go from normal Heidenreich to the face paint, to the shoulder pads, to the hairdo. When you look at it through innocent rose-colored glasses,
sure,
it's fine. But then when you look at it, in hindsight, it's very it can be distasteful. And it can be just why?
Sure.
Why did you feel the need to do this?
Yeah, but okay. So here's my thing. I definitely see what you're saying in regards to the story arc and the character development, and that's all well and good. I am all for some interesting and compelling character work as a movie buff, as you may well be aware, Tomas. But the thing is, this team had nothing left to strive for after, here's why. It's because they won the fucking tag titles in this match. And it's like, once you put the tag titles on them, you can't get higher than that for this team. You cannot get you cannot strive for anything better. Doesn't matter if you're trying to live up to Hawk's legacy, all due respect. It doesn't matter if you need to earn the shoulder pads. The tag team titles, if you want to put them on these guys, fine. They look badass. They can get over with these, like, they can get over with the younger fans, especially because I was really into the Legion of Doom and like the face paint and all that. It was really cool.
Well, also here's the other thing. You know when I said at Judgment Day how one of Vince McMahon's favorite tropes is he's got this brand new toy, this brand new gimmick. And the first thing he wants to do is slap a title on them. They did that with Eminem. And before these guys even got a chance to start rolling, he already wants to take those titles and put it on a refurbished toy that he got years ago. And then if you go back into your history, remember, Vince wanted to sign the original Road Warriors back to WWE in 2002. But they went out there, had a match with the Dudley Boys. It was so bad that Vince changed his mind.
I remember when
the Road Warriors did not want to put over the Dudleys. And that's crazy because those are my two favorite tag teams of all time. That's a dream match to me.
Yeah, I don't even think it was the Dudleys. No, you know what it was? It was like a few months before Hawk had passed. But the Road Warriors came out as surprise challengers for Rob Van Dam and Kane on an episode of Raw. And they were like, this is a random tag team. We don't want to put these guys over. I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you for refreshing my memory. But, I don't want to say that to Vince spiting that the Road Warriors kind of went into business for themselves and didn't get their contracts. But this is, I just look back at this. I just think it's innocent to an extent, but why? Why did this need to be here? And it's just, it doesn't last all of 5 months.
No. And actually,
you know it, Animal is on his own as a heel, and he's trying to get into the Money in the Bank ladder match of all things, and then he's gone shortly after that.
A fucking random ass biker gimmick for Road Warrior Animal too. It's so weird, but
and then on top of that, he wins his qualifying match against Matt Hardy, but he hits him with I think a pair of brass nuts, and they slip out of his trunks, and the referee catches him and reverses the decision. So
puts Matt Hardy in the Money in the Bank ladder match because of a technicality.
In an alternate universe, Road Warrior Animal was in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Anywho.
Yeah, we're jumping the gun. We're jumping the gun here, but
I just wanted to get all my feelings out about this because this is the only time we're going to talk about this new
I don't think so. I don't think
think they wrestle No Mercy.
They do. They totally do. They totally do.
Yeah. They team with
Christy Hemme.
Yeah, that's right. They do that random six-man tag against Eminem, but it's not even for titles.
Yeah.
It's so weird, but we're not going to talk about this a lot, so I think I just wanted to get all of my feelings out about this now.
Yeah.
This match, and you know what, man? I wanted to like this match. I really, really did.
Wasn't very good, was it?
A solid team like Eminem versus two guys that have zero chemistry because why would they?
I feel so horrible for Eminem now because I loved this when I was a kid. I loved seeing the Legion of Doom win these belts. I loved seeing Animal point up to the sky and dedicate the win to his tag team partner. But poor freaking Eminem, because I love these guys in hindsight because they are one of my favorite tag teams in the Ruthless Aggression era, just thinking about it. These guys oozed cool. Like, every single time you saw them come out with the paparazzi, every single time you saw Melina make her entrance, everybody loved Eminem, Some people...
Oh, the days of the X-rated entrance.
Some people have gone as far as to say Melina has the greatest entrance of all time. I don't know if I can say that. I really don't know if I can say that, but...
if you're a horny bastard.
Yeah. Looking at Viscera around this time, right? But anyway,
again, like I said, Animal and Heidenreich, they have zero chemistry because why would they? Animal was purely a tag team guy in his career. And then you're going to slap him together with this greener than green. Like, you can't even get more green than Heidenreich throwing his bogus ass punches trying to pretend he's a boxer. And then, there's really nothing to this match. And do these guys win with the Doomsday device?
They do. That's so Eminem.
God.
Animal, thankfully, is the hot tag guy, and he goes in there, and he's, wrecking everybody. Eminem goes for the snapshot on Animal. Heidenreich comes in, clotheslines Nitro out of the way. Mercury is left all alone with the faux Road Warriors. Heidenreich goes up to the top rope. Animal has Mercury on his shoulders, and they plant him with that Doomsday device. A 7-minute match. 7-minute opener. Tag team titles.
It's just,
switch hands.
And again, sure, it's a feel-good moment. In an alternate universe where Heidenreich is over, this is his first title. But what was this guy doing a year prior? He was a psycho gimmick doing things to Michael Cole.
He had a straitjacket.
Caskets, and now he's supposed to be this white knee babyface. And again,
he's a poet.
The best way I can describe this for modern day fans that didn't live through this. I want you to imagine AEW. Imagine they just slapped a random person. And nothing against this wrestler. I'm just using it as an example. Imagine if they slapped Action Andretti with Mark Briscoe, and then they won the AEW tag team titles. And imagine Mark pointing to this guy and getting, and then imagine after that in the weeks going to, Andretti gets a bandana and he gets the camo pants, and it's like, wouldn't that be just so disgusting?
Yeah, Mark would hate that. And Mark has he has very adamantly said that he is never going to be a tag team wrestler ever again in his career, and I respect the man so much for that, because he does not want to tarnish his brother's legacy. So it's, yeah.
I just want to, again, to put that in hindsight, just imagine that. And I just feel like this is maybe to a lesser extent because it's been a couple years, not giving this angle any sort of excuse. And, Mark and Jay are brothers in real life, and, but these guys were practically brothers. It's so weird. It's so, I don't know why this needed to happen. The Road Warriors will drop the titles very soon.
Yeah.
And we're not going to tell you to who.
Right back to, wait, no, don't they drop them right back to Eminem?
Yeah, they play hot potato with these titles.
Yeah,
the majority of the summer.
God, these WWE Tag Team Championships are clearly not at the level of prestige that they were 3 years ago when we first talked about them. But
they go back to Eminem, and then Eminem dropped them to a team that we're not going to talk about just yet.
Nope.
And then that team's going to drop them right back to Eminem, and it's like, why do that again? I'm getting way ahead of myself. This match, I feel like giving it 2 stars would be too generous. So, see what I did there. I think I'm going to give it a star and 3/4.
Star and a half, dude. Star and a half.
Yeah, I'll match a star and a half. It was just
wasn't a very good match.
By the worst matches ever, I swear.
Wasn't a very good match, was it?
I want you to imagine this show. Imagine, a decent sandwich. You got some, some good meat in there. Maybe the vegetables might be a little dry, but it is sandwiched by the most stale pieces of bread. Like bread that's been sitting out in the sun for a couple of days.
With mold on them.
Yeah, that's how I can describe the show.
yeah, that's a really good analogy. But let's start getting into the sandwich filling, if you will. So Eddie Guerrero gets interviewed backstage by Josh Matthews, who does not have frosted tips anymore, which makes me very sad. Eddie Guerrero basically is talking about how he's throwing a new monkey wrench into his match with Rey Mysterio. Basically, his new addiction is manipulation, Holmes. He basically says that Rey's son, Dominic, that may sound familiar to all the current WWE fans. Dominic Mysterio is 8 years old at the time, and he gets to accompany his dad down to the ring, and he gets to see this match firsthand. That was one.
We'll talk about that later. But let me tell you, Eddie is in full, just God mode heel right now. God tier heel mode right now.
Such a great heel.
Even though the premise of this rivalry is a little weird, you can't, Eddie made it work. He did. God tier heel mode right now.
Rest in peace, Eddie.
But this next match, I dug. I dug the fuck out of this match.
Okay, let's get into it real quick. And let us note, ladies and gentlemen, that this show is also right at the tail end, if not right after the 2005 draft lottery. So the new rosters are set in stone. There's no changes until the ECW brand comes into the fold next year. But we've got Booker T going one-on-one against Christian and his Waterproof Blonde theme song. Christian, of course, an acquisition from Monday Night Raw. This seems like a random fucking match. As random as can be. These guys had nothing going on either side. So they were just like, you want to wrestle? You want to go and do it?
So here's the thing. I'm going to defend this match, but I'm not going to defend why this match is happening. We talk about the draft lottery, and this is the definition of irony, how Christian Cage was I want to go to SmackDown so I can face Cena. I want to go to SmackDown. Like, I want to go to SmackDown. Careful what you wish for, because he does get drafted to SmackDown.
Yeah.
After the fact, Cena is drafted to Raw. So Christian Cage.
And after the fact that Cena pinned you at Vengeance. So you don't get a second chance at Cena either.
No, and it's like, you're right. These are two like workhorses. We have praised Booker T so much on this retrospective, like to the point where I don't think I could say enough good things about him. Christian Cage is probably like, I don't want to say he's peaked, because obviously what he's doing in AEW right now is awesome. But in his initial run with WWE, he's like at his peak right now. He is over as fuck with the crowd. He is cunning as hell. It's like, why have you not taken this guy and put him in the main event? And here he is, like, look at the crap of guys he could have feuded with on the roster here. Undertaker, Batista, a world title program with Batista.
Yes, please.
Sick.
That would have been.
Here he is in a nothing rivalry with Booker T. This is just the definition of they wrestled in a match on SmackDown. Christian got disqualified. We're having the rematch on pay-per-view. It's like the blandest of bland when it comes to booking.
Yeah.
It's a Vince McMahon special.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Christian Cage character that we see nowadays did not come to form in 2005, you know, because nobody tell Christian Cage now that Booker T's father is no longer with us, you know? You know?
Give me that in 2023.
Yeah.
Give me that in 2023. I'd mark out for that.
I feel like, I mean, I don't want to speculate, but I feel like Booker T's father was gone even before this pay-per-view. So
only like, Booker T had, I mean, not Booker T, Christian Cage had the cunning that he did.
God.
That he does now. But let me tell
add some personal stuff to this match. Why not?
I'm gonna defend this match with this part right here. The work in this match, again, these are two workhorses. I feel like these two are wrestling with a chip on their shoulder. Like,
yeah.
You're gonna give us this god awful dog shit spot on this card with this nothing feud, or we're gonna make something out of it. And I think these two had great chemistry. I thought they worked together very well. I like the spots in this match. This was solid.
And I thought this match was better than their IC title match they had on pay-per-view a couple years ago. I think it was like Bad Blood, something like that.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I thought that.
I really dug this match.
It was, but my biggest issue with it, the wrong fucking guy went over. Because if you're looking in hindsight, we don't want to jump too far ahead. Christian will not be with the WWE much longer in this initial run. Come Survivor Series, Christian has departed off to Total Nonstop Action Wrestling. So I feel like
where he becomes a star.
If you want to throw Christian a bone and really start that slow burn and his ascension into the main event, just like Edge does on Raw, keeping that in mind, if you really want to push Edge and Christian in parallel, you can totally do that. Just start it off with Christian winning this match against Booker T.
And also, I want you to take this into perspective. At this point, Christian's mind is probably already made up. You know what? At the end of my contract, it's coming up soon. I'm not re-signing. I'm getting out of here. I'm not happy with WWE. And that's what he said when he left. He said, I wasn't happy with my spot of the company. I needed to leave. If you're Vince McMahon and you don't want Christian to leave, which I don't know, I've heard rumors that Vince never really liked Christian, but wouldn't you be trying a little harder to keep him? Wouldn't you be like, oh, your mind's made up? Well, let me persuade you. What if I put you in a world title program on SmackDown? What if I put you in a feud with The Undertaker?
That explains a lot.
On the card, and maybe by the time the fall rolls around, I can change your mind. I can sign you to a new deal. No, this was Vince was like, whatever.
Yeah, he just let one of his best workhorses go to the. I don't even know if he wants a demon competition at this point because TNA is kind of a startup, but Christian becomes a massive star like we knew that he would become over in TNA in the Impact Zone. So the crowd, also, here's the key. The crowd was very into Christian, and they really wanted Christian to take this win home. But, you know, this is what I was talking about earlier. Michael Cole and Taz were talking shit about these fans for cheering the heels and calling it Bizarro World. And I'm like, what? Booker T...
Which I hate. It's
yeah.
I mean, this is going to go into really full gear by WrestleMania. But why do they have this perceived notion that just because you're cheering the bad guy, that makes you a weirdo? Like, I get it, but it's like, yeah, these are bad guys, but they're not out there like doing heinous things. They're just like,
Yeah.
it's just like they like them. And how about instead of like, I don't know, it's like you don't need to acknowledge it, but at the same time, if you are going to acknowledge it, at least
Yeah.
don't sound like a freaking idiot when you do.
I'm just, yeah. I serious bone to pick with these announcers on this show, but
also the way Booker T was booked in this match kind of made him look like a heel.
He really did. He really did.
Get into that later this year, but again, him using his wife in this match as much as he did,
and Charmel was interfering in this match, so Christian decided to try and take some matters into his own hands, pull a page out of the.
She really didn't need to.
No, he tried to pull a page out of the Kurt Angle playbook, although not as extreme. Booker T goes and defends his wife and hits the rock bottom for a nice near fall. But what are you talking about? He hit the rock bottom. I really. No, it's not. No, it's not. He just hit him with the rock bottom. But in any case, some nice. Oh, I love it. So there's some nice counter wrestling going on. Christian goes for the kill switch and Booker T shoves him off. Scissors kick, spinner Rooney, missile drop kick. Christian gets his foot on the rope, and the crowd is really buying into these near falls too.
Yeah,
and
it's a good match.
I will admit, yeah, you know what? After talking about it and watching it, it was a better match than I had remembered it. But it absolutely had almost no heat, and if it did have heat, if it had some personal animosity going in, maybe the match could have been a little bit better.
Oh yeah, this match is the definition of if you just gave me this match on paper and just said, "Hey, these are," I'd be like, "So what?" But you actually need to like. It's like buying a new item on the menu, and you just like, no, like please, like I know it's a risk, but you're really gonna like it if you buy it. It's like you just got to do it. You got to take that risk.
Yeah, these two only got 12 minutes. I don't remember the match being like that short, but in any case,
those 11 minutes and 30 seconds.
They did. Booker T actually, keeping in mind with that, the finish, Booker T hits an avalanche scissors kick. And I'm like,
which is pretty sick.
Yeah, you know, he's experimenting here. It's no Houston hangover, but avalanche scissors kick will have to do. 3-star match. I thought it was solid enough. The work was good in it.
I really dug this match.
Really?
Also, I want you to take into perspective too that you have these two workhorses putting on this good match, and your mid card title is on Orlando Jordan.
Oh, yeah, that's a good segue into the next match, isn't it?
Yeah, 3.25 stars. I dug the fuck out of this match. It had no heat though, so it's just like just give this match a watch. You have nothing to lose, and
give it a shot.
11 minutes of your time.
In a vacuum, it's a really good match, but storytelling-wise, you know, it definitely could have had that added personal heat element to it. Absolutely. But you mentioned Orlando Jordan, which is a brilliant segue into the next contest.
Yes, we have up next for the United States Championship. Orlando Jordan is defending against SmackDown's newest acquisition, Chris Benoit. Can you say, "We got nothing for you, Benoit," without saying, "We got nothing for you, Benoit"? It has been a year and a half since this man main evented WrestleMania, celebrated at the end of the show with with him and his best friend holding both world titles, and here he is, about to do the job for Orlando Jordan,
who you said was just there, carrying around the. He's been carrying around this. He's been carrying around this fucking belt since like end of February, early March. That is ridiculous.
SmackDown's okay, here's the thing. SmackDown's mid card got promoted to main eventers, and there was like nobody to challenge this guy for this title.
Yeah.
But, no, I just said Orlando Jordan. You know. Also, again, they got. I mean, we know. I mean, let's pretend what is going to happen in a couple years isn't going to happen. But also, pretend you're in 2005 right now. Just prepare that they're not going to do a goddamn thing with Benoit for the rest of his career. Not a goddamn thing. That United States title is going to be his best friend.
Yeah.
For the rest of his career.
It really is. It really is. He's just stuck holding on to that title and being in that title scene pretty much for the rest of his natural born life. It's crazy. Yeah. It is crazy.
But with that being said, you know why I like this match a lot more than you did?
Why?
Because Benoit made Jordan work. He said, okay, we got 14 minutes. You're going to fucking work all 14 of those minutes.
And Jordan, I don't know. I mean, you're probably going to disagree with me, but Orlando Jordan was never the most exciting worker, in my opinion. I know he got the Undertaker John Cena style endorsement when he debuted in 2003, and ironically enough, turned heel by attacking the Undertaker during his feud with JBL and becoming JBL's chief of staff. You know, I.
It's just Jordan. Okay, I'll praise Jordan a little. He had potential. He really did. He was, I won't even go as far as saying he was a solid worker. He had a mind for the business, but it's just like you watch him and you really have no reason to be in. What is Jordan's character? He's JBL's chief of staff.
He's JBL's Virgil. You know,
what does that mean?
Like,
he was given this title just to get heat on JBL going into his WrestleMania feud. After that, it's like they forgot to take the title off this guy. And he's just here with it. And it's like, he's not a horrible worker and he's not a bad wrestler. It's just, I don't know what it is. Like Bischoff pushed huge for him, not only in WWE, but in TNA as well. But it's like, he's a decent worker, but he needed more. And you can't say, oh, he didn't have charisma, because I'll give the dude credit. He had balls to not only suggest, but to execute some of his ideas later in his career. Maybe if he would have did that today, he was really ahead of his time. I will give him that. But just the weird way they presented it, and just I don't want to think about 2010 TNA, but it's like he was really just it's weird. If he was just born in a different era, at a different time, if this guy was just dealt a better hand in his career, probably would have been decent. Dare I say it? You're gonna call me crazy. We're just bringing up all sorts of crazy names on this podcast we shouldn't bring up. Orlando Jordan is a precursor to the Velveteen Dream.
Yeah. I mean, especially if you look at his TNA run, 100% agree with you. But the difference is, and I hate to speak well of the Velveteen Dream right now, but his matches in NXT, Malachi Black, Tommaso Ciampa, I loved a good chunk of the Velveteen Dream's matches because he just had the it factor. And Orlando Jordan did not really capture the imagination of the WWE universe, as it were, like the Velveteen Dream did.
Thank you. I think that is the best way to sum it up there. He just didn't have it. He could have, but it's just like, not everyone can be a main eventer.
He needed that extra spark that was never given to him. And
it's like, and again, it's shitty because this is 2005, but it's like they knew he was gay. So Vince said, okay, to punish you, I'm going to give you the straightest character possible. So you have no room to be creative. You have no room to bloom. I'm going to put you in this metal box that you cannot escape from.
And we're also going to stick you as the sidekick to a known staunch Republican, So it really put Orlando Jordan in a corner that he didn't really deserve to be in. But WWE was very hopeful that this program with Chris Benoit that would go through the summer of 2005 would be that spark for Orlando Jordan. And sadly, I just don't think this match did the trick for him.
No, it's the opposite. This is the beginning of the end for him.
Yeah. You want
really the beginning of the end for him.
You want to talk about Shelton Benjamin's career flatlining? Once we talk about SummerSlam, Orlando Jordan's career not only flatlines, it's
6 feet under.
Yeah.
If Benjamin flatlined, then Jordan's career is going to go 6 feet under.
They turned Orlando Jordan into the laughing stock of the SmackDown mid-card. But this time around, I mean, you had some technically sound wrestling in here. Benoit hitting some great Northern Light suplexes, and give Jordan credit for being stiff with Benoit and at least trying to meet Benoit at halfway of the stiffness that Benoit worked at.
And I feel like that's not fair for me to say, oh, Benoit made Jordan work. It's like Jordan knew who he was in the ring with. It's like nowadays I listened to a podcast with, I don't know if it was John Morrison or Kofi Kingston, but they talked about Sheamus, and they said Sheamus is so stiff that when I knew I was going to wrestle him, I had to up my game because I wasn't going to let him just stiff me and I wasn't going to stiff him back. So much to the point where they would wrestle other people and they had to remind themselves, oh, shoot, this isn't Sheamus. I need to, loosen up a bit.
You need to back off. You need to back
It's
off
like
a little.
Jordan's like, I'm wrestling the toughest son of a bitch in the business. I need to know. I can't hold back.
And I'm gonna beat him. I'm booked to beat him. You know.
Yeah, I didn't hate this match. I think I just really appreciated the stiffness and like the style these guys were working. It's like Jordan was not scared to bump for Benoit, and I think Benoit was, reciprocating right back to Jordan. I will say the finish made Benoit look like a fucking chump.
Yeah. So, Orlando Jordan takes the turnbuckle pad off the top turnbuckle in one of the corners. Referee Jimmy Corderas does not notice this. Benoit tries to go for a German. Orlando rolls through. Benoit hits the turnbuckle face first. Orlando Jordan rolls Chris Benoit up in Tomas's favorite finish of all time, the roll up. And Orlando Jordan retains. I mean, this match went 14 minutes and 25 seconds. I feel like it would have been more entertaining if he shaved off, I don't know, about 14 minutes of that match. It probably would have been a lot more entertaining, but, what can he do? What can he do?
That. Very strange lead-in.
Yes.
Here's the thing I'll say. I get it. They're still viewing Benoit for some reason as this main eventer but he's not. And you can't just have Jordan, who's known as just the sneaky, he's the heat guy, to just beat him cleanly. And they probably didn't want to go with the lazy disqualification finish. But this just like, you know what? Okay, I'm going to rebook this finish. You know what would have been better? Do the classic. You take the turnbuckle pad off it. It distracts the referee. While the referee is fixing it, blast Benoit with the belt.
Yeah, just
Benoit look a lot better. But this was just, Jordan cheated, but at the same time, he outsmarted him.
Yeah, they tried to do something a little bit more complicated than the finish really needed to be. I feel like if you really wanted to put Orlando Jordan over in like a simplistic manner, to more so establish him as the sneaky heel, I don't know.
Also,
maybe keep it simple.
I have $1 million question for you. And if you can answer this question, I will sign over the deed to my car right now to you. What's Orlando Jordan's finisher?
Shoot, looks like I'm not getting Tomas's car today.
Exactly. He never had a finisher in WWE.
You sure it wasn't the overdrive?
No, that was MVP.
Oh, God. That was MVP's finisher, too. But
yeah, the playmaker.
Yeah. Thank God Orlando Jordan didn't use that. I don't even know how to go about rating this.
I'll give it 3.25 because I really like the stiff work about it. I like this match. The finish again was fucking lame. I hated the finish.
I'm gonna
also unrelated. Actually, you know what? That is being very generous. I'll give it a solid 3.
2 3/4, dude. I can't give it a 3.
That's fair.
I feel like this is the weakest match that we've talked about with Benoit. And it's, do you know how difficult that is to have a kind of a snoozer match with Chris Benoit? Like,
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say until that feud with MVP in fucking 2007, name a banger Benoit match.
Him against Chavo. Those couple times.
That's right. That is a good one. Oh, him and Finley too. But again, we're getting
him and Regal. Him and Regal at No Mercy. Yeah,
they're very few and far between.
Yeah, the tribute match at the Eddie Guerrero show that he had with Triple H, I thought was a great match. But he had some good matches with Booker T that we'll talk about pretty soon.
Very unrelated, but going back to Jordan and his gimmick. You ever listen to the lyrics of his theme song? How the guy literally says, and it's all about the girls, and a girl moans in the background. It's like,
no.
It's like, again, it's like Vince said, oh, you're gay? No, you're not. Not in my fucking company.
Goodness gracious. Yeah, talk about miscasting there. But yeah. So, with that in mind, our next contest, probably the most infamous part about the Great American Bash 2005, and probably one of the biggest missed opportunities and biggest fuckovers in wrestling history. This is
what happens, real quick. This is what happens when Vince goes into panic mode. He makes the most irrational decisions ever.
Mm-hmm. So, we have the resident Arab American, a new acquisition for SmackDown, Muhammad Hassan, on the show where Taz did not want him welcome. If you remember the Royal Rumble, he was like, you can keep him on Raw for all I care. But here he is. Here he is on SmackDown. Muhammad Hassan is wrestling The Undertaker, and the winner becomes the #1 contender to the big gold belt at SummerSlam. Remember this.
You remembered that.
Yeah, I want you to fucking remember this, viewers. This is supposed to be for the #1 contendership to the World Heavyweight Championship.
Mm-hmm.
And the plan was to have Muhammad Hassan actually go over The Undertaker and face Batista in his hometown at SummerSlam for the title. I don't know if Hassan would have beat Batista. But that was the supposed plan. But
in an alternate universe. But
yes.
How did we get here first? So Hassan got drafted to SmackDown. And before we get into like the conclusion of this angle, like I said, John Cena got drafted to Raw. So there was no world champion on SmackDown. Teddy Long booked originally a five-way match for the new SmackDown Championship. And Hassan came in and he demanded to be a part of that. It was going to be a 6-man. Taker took Hassan out of this match, and he was never pinned. So Hassan went complaining to Teddy Long, saying, I never got pinned. Give me Taker at the Bash. And that's what happened. Again, you did not need this element in the feud, considering how it goes. Like, the World Championship is a complete afterthought when it comes to this feud, because what is going to be introduced is probably like, they were already pushing the envelope with Hassan. Vince just straight up took the envelope and tore it to shreds with this.
Yes.
They introduced what they call sympathizers. They're terrorists.
Yeah.
They are in ski masks.
Okay.
They attack Taker. They try to choke him with a wire.
Piano wire.
They're terrorists. They try to tune a piano with that wire, but
so
they're terrorists. They label them as sympathizers, and they have taken this gimmick to a whole fucking new level.
I have been waiting months to talk about this. So this is when Raw and SmackDown were doing those dual Super Show tapings. So the superstars could actually have off the 4th of July holiday. They recorded SmackDown on that Monday. They sent them home to enjoy, the summer festivities with their families and all that, enjoy the fireworks. Little did they know that they would record this angle, and keeping in mind, Muhammad Hassan's gimmick is that he's still an American, and he's being looked down upon because of the color of his skin. That is compelling shit. Like in 2005, like in a post 9/11 society where the wound is still pretty fresh,
yeah, again, it was a very xenophobic gimmick. We've talked about this a lot. And here's the thing. Let's get one thing straight. There's nothing wrong with having an angle where you have a group of guys in masks. Hell, AEW is doing one right now as we speak.
Yeah.
It's kind of a staple, having like a bunch of mystery men be your heaters and all that stuff. It's not that. It's just, what is this gimmick all about? And you just said it's a very xenophobic gimmick where Muhammad Hassan is being hated just for being Arab American, in an age where every American hated. It didn't matter if you were Muslim. It didn't matter if you were Arab. It didn't matter if you were Indian. It didn't matter if you were Pakistani. If you were from that part of the world, you were hated and you were considered responsible for 9/11, which is probably the fucking stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
But listen to any of Muhammad Hassan's promos over this past number of months. Is there any point in which Muhammad Hassan actually claims himself to be a terrorist?
No.
So that's what makes this all the more stupid. So you have all these guys in balaclavas coming out, piano wire, choking out The Undertaker so that Muhammad Hassan can lock in the camel clutch and end this attack. Now, if you didn't have
Hassan getting a bunch of cronies to attack The Undertaker, that's smart. I get that, because he's the fucking Undertaker. Why would you not hire a bunch of big goons to kick his ass?
Which I believe
Undertaker.
Which I believe two of them were who would later on become Gemini, Simon Dean's heaters. But they looked like the Gemini, dude. But in any case, they leave. They record that segment. Some time passes, a few days pass actually, and the show airs on July 5th of 2005. Those of you who were watching the news back then, you know that that's a pretty terrible day. Those are the same. So okay. When this episode aired, there was a little warning sign at the bottom saying to the viewers, we apologize in advance for this taped segment offending anybody, because this aired on the exact same day as the London bombings of 2005, which killed dozens of innocent people. A real-life terrorist attack, okay? So you add in the fact that Muhammad Hassan is now claiming to be a terrorist, and then a couple, like, not even a couple days later, a real terrorist attack actually happens and kills dozens of innocent people. Of course UPN doesn't want this guy on their network anymore. Of course they don't want to be associated with him. You know?
Again, the blame is being put on the wrong person.
Yes.
Hassan is the scapegoat. Hassan is a professional wrestler who's not even Arab. Let's remind you about that again. He's Italian.
Yes.
He was given the very awful task to go and portray this character when, again, that's like if they did like this on a television show and the actor got fired for it. No, the writers need to be fired. Whoever made this decision needs to be fired. The blame was put on Hassan when it should have been put on Vince McMahon. And I cannot believe it took them 2 years and another incident like this for them to say, hey, maybe we shouldn't run an angle on TV that could actually happen in real life, like a bombing or a murder.
Yeah, you don't say. You don't say. You don't say. But yeah, so with that in mind, Muhammad Hassan does not appear on another episode of SmackDown leading up to the Bash, and we don't see his face again until the Great American Bash itself, because UPN does not want this guy on their network anymore. So the Undertaker basically has to build this match on his own, and being the consummate professional that he is, of course he went out and fucking did it. I don't even know if there was another segment that referenced Muhammad Hassan on SmackDown.
Also, and again, you couldn't make this more obvious than you tried. What does Hassan say? If I do not beat the Undertaker, you will never see me on SmackDown again. So why would they run that angle when he literally just got drafted to SmackDown a month prior?
After getting his best entrance he's ever gotten. The sympathizers are carrying this fucker out on like a magic carpet structure. And he comes out there. It's a WrestleMania-style entrance of the Great American Bash, which is nuts. Undertaker comes out, and the match is... I mean, the match isn't terrible. Muhammad Hassan, again, he was going out there. Mark Capani was doing his job. He was a consummate professional as well. Only a 20...
He soul for Taker.
He was,
I think...
wise beyond his years. He was only 23 years old at the time this was all going on. So... this guy was just doing his job. He was just doing his job.
It was a fine match. Like I said, he sold for Taker. The ending was overbooked as hell, but it's like this match is like an afterthought. It was there. We all saw the writing on the wall. So it's like, it's not really about the match. It's really more about what happens at the end of it, because these guys only get 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Like they just want to let's get this match out of the way like as fast as possible. And sweep this ugly mess under the rug.
Take really wanted to take this match home. He was he probably looked at Mark and was like, let's go home. You know, he did all that stuff. He delivers not a tombstone. He beats Muhammad Hassan with a choke slam, and he pins him clean in the middle. Undertaker is the #1 contender to the World Heavyweight Championship. Remember that?
Single-handedly literally and figuratively buries this faction, because all these sympathizers come out and Taker just annihilates all of them. He chokeslams one of them. He tombstones one of them. He does, which is one of my favorite Taker gimmicks that he doesn't do a lot. He does that thing where he takes the chair, puts it underneath one of their throats, and slams it against the steel pole. I love that move.
That's like sadistic 2002 heel Undertaker shit. Like, I loved that.
Like I said, also... Taz keeps referring to the guy with the piano wire. Oh, there's that big guy with the wire. It's like Taz just comes off as a petty little bitch during this match.
Yeah. Take down those terrorists, the American Badass. Take them down.
Taker tombstones the big fucker, and then Hassan is trying to escape his way up the ramp. Taker goes after him. They brawl a little bit, and this is, I don't care what anyone says, this is the gnarliest spot in existence. Also, I think Dabari takes a chokeslam through the announce table. Oh, no.
Yes.
Dabari, I love this spot. Taker grabs Dabari by his tie and fucking slams him through the announce table. Not on top of the announce table, through the announce table. Like
through the base of it.
Yeah, the same spot Samoa Joe did to CM Punk at All In.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
Dabari's out of the picture. Taker takes Hassan. He choke slams him. Also, again, props to Hassan for taking these bumps.
Oh.
He takes a choke slam on the steel.
And his selling of that choke slam is just, yeah. Again.
I will say Hassan sandbagged it a little, but can you blame him? Can you blame him for sandbagging a fucking choke slam on the stage?
He just wanted to take it home.
The last night in the company.
Yeah.
So he's not trying to die. So Taker then removes a big chunk of the stage, and there's this big gaping hole. Look, guys, I wasn't born yesterday. We all know there was a crash pad down there. I don't care. This is the gnarliest spot I've ever seen in my life. Taker gives Hassan the last ride through the hole. Again, I don't care if there was a crash pad there. Hassan was probably scared shitless when taking the spot.
Yeah, but Undertaker, I'm sure, obviously, because Mark Capani's doing very well these days, he takes this bump on the crash pad, and the way it's recorded, like, this is Muhammad Hassan getting killed off. Because, like, once Undertaker leaves and does his America fuck yeah thing, he's out of there. The camera actually looks down into that hole. You see Muhammad Hassan just convulsing on the floor. He's bleeding from the back of the head.
Fucking beautifully.
He probably, in character,
on top.
Yeah, in character, this guy probably fucking died on the way to the hospital. So, you know.
He's laying on top of a light fixture. And I'm just thinking, like, that could have fucking killed a man.
Yeah. Like, how does it not? How does it not?
Sold this beautifully. Like,
yes.
All the props in the world to Hassan. Like, if there's a way to go out, make it memorable. Because we're still talking about this, like, almost 20 years later.
And with that, pour one out for one of the biggest missed opportunities in WWE history. Muhammad Hassan was one of the most compelling bad guys to ever set foot in the Ruthless Aggression era, at least in my opinion. Mark Capani, after Hassan was written off of television, he would basically go on. He would retire from wrestling, and he is currently a principal at a high school in New Jersey. So good for him. Good for Mark Capani for finding life after wrestling.
I'm not saying this is going to happen, but again, crazier things have happened in wrestling. I would love it. Not saying 2024, but I would love it. Just 1 year, Hassan entered the Royal Rumble, and he got the biggest pop in the world.
Oh.
Like the biggest pop in the world, because you know he would.
Well, Triple H is booking these shows, so anything is possible. Literally.
If we can see Gene Snitsky make a backstage cameo, anything is possible.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But
again, I'm sure they talk about it on SmackDown, but after that, Hassan is never brought up again. This whole gimmick and angle is the definition of karma. Again, I like to give all the props to Hassan, because he took a gimmick that should not have worked, and he became one of the most compelling heels on the roster. I want you to take this. How long was Hassan in WWE? Like 6 months?
7 months, something like that, yeah.
In the span of 7 months, he worked with John Cena, Shawn Michaels, Hulk Hogan, and The Undertaker. Name another guy that's done that. And Jerry the King Lawler. Let's throw that in there. Those guys.
Jericho, Benoit. I mean, you already said Michaels, Shelton, Benjamin. The list goes on and on with Muhammad Hassan.
Those guys alone. Taker, Cena, Hogan, Michaels.
Yeah.
Name another guy in his first 7 months that worked with those names. I'll wait.
And he was a good wrestler. He was a good wrestler, too. I feel like he could have gone very far in the business if that terrorist angle was never written. But as far as the match goes, I mean, it only went 8 minutes, and it was just being...
It's an afterthought, man.
Yeah. It's all about... All people remember about this is the aftermath and the build. Nobody actually remembers the match. But
2.5.
Yeah.
Just props for Taker and Hassan doing something with this.
Yeah, big time.
If you're gonna go out like that. Go out the way Hassan did.
Yeah. Raise a toast to Mark Capani. There you go.
With that being said, we just saw a man get murdered on TV. Oh, well, here's some racist stereotypes.
Oh, my God! We go from one racist stereotype to another.
Oh, great. I've been tasked with a terrible... We have the Blue World Order. Yes, this ECW gimmick is hanging around for a little bit because they have to get their revenge on JBL. We'll talk about that later.
Yep.
Stevie Richards, the Blue Meanie, and Hollywood Nova, which props to Nova for working 2 different gimmicks under the WWE umbrella. He's a modern day Mick Foley, I tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Taking on Super Crazy, Juventud, and Psychosis, 3 of the greatest luchadors in WCW and ECW history.
Yep.
Are now known as the Mexicools. And what do the Mexicools do, Zach? Tell me.
They basically come out and they drive around some lawnmowers. It's like it's like Vince McMahon looked at these guys and they were like, it's like these guys are coming home from work and now they're gonna come in and wrestle. What the fuck?
Suits, and they have rakes.
Fuck you, Vince. Fuck you, Vince.
This is Vince's way of saying, how fucking dare you make your name outside of my company? How fucking dare you work for my competition? I'm going to make you guys into the biggest jokes possible. Again, we have Super Crazy, who we just saw do a moonsault off a balcony.
Yep.
You have Juventud, who is known for classics in WCW.
Yep.
Same with Psychosis. And this is how you treat them in the WWE.
Yeah, you can imagine why people did not want to jump ship to the WWE back then because of stupid shit like that.
With that being said, putting these guys in a faction, sure, I can get down with that. The name doesn't even bother me. It's the fucking lawnmowers, the fucking jumpsuits, the fucking rapes.
The fucking music?
Guilty pleasure, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah,
But this ain't it.
No, this ain't it. I want you to
imagine if in 2000, let's say 15, Vince McMahon signed Shinsuke Nakamura, Ibushi, and Kenta, all the contracts at the same time. And they all came out wearing kimonos and they were making sushi. And they were called, I don't know, Japanese Fun Time. It's like that. It's really like that. It really be like that.
No, that is a horrible idea. Why would anyone ever think of doing that? Why?
I don't know. Why don't you ask Vince?
Yeah. I mean,
these 3 very over Latino stars and turn them into this.
God, what is it Kurt Angle would say on his podcast because of Vince's ideas? Vince is going to hell.
Yeah. Vince McMahon's going to hell.
Yeah. You don't say.
What do you say about this match? It's the buffer match. It's the buffer match.
By the way, the BWO actually comes out in like plastic gigantic tricycles to mock the Mexicools and their lawnmowers. And I used to have one of those bikes when I was a little kid. It was known as the Green Machine, I want to say. And they just spray painted it blue. And they just called it, we're going to spray paint BWO on it. I mean, if they all came out in segways, it probably would have meant that they would have won handily. If Nova came out in the Dean Machine.
And you know what else I remember?
What?
The lawnmowers the Mexicools are riding out on said Juan Deere. Look.
Fuck this.
Fuck this. And I know, you know what? I'm Hispanic. I'm allowed to complain about this as much as I want.
I know. I know you are.
Los Guerreros. I get it. They were kind of the same thing. They were a stereotype. But Eddie and Chavo were so charming. They were so endearing. And their whole gimmick wasn't even revolved around the stereotype. It's just that, look at this wacky nephew and uncle running around, like, just getting one over on everyone.
And stealing from people. And riding around in lowriders, that's cool. Lowriders are awesome,
It's like, you get my point, but that's why I'm talking about this so much because this is only a 5-minute match. There's not much to talk about here.
I don't even remember how it ended. I think Big Stevie Cool was pinned. I want to say.
I think so. I don't remember what they did. I don't know who pinned who.
Let's see. Psychosis, top rope leg drop on Big Stevie Cool after a springboard moonsault from Super Crazy. So the Juice didn't really get much involved in this match. I mean, he did stuff, but 0 stars, huh?
Big fat goose egg for this match.
Wow. I respect all 6 of these workers, so I am willing to go ahead and give it half of a star, at least for effort, but
And that's totally fine. It's just like all 6 of these guys deserve better.
Not a good match. Not a good match at all. But you want to talk about legendary Lucha Libre figures in a good way. Let's go ahead and talk about the 3rd installment in this heated rivalry, arguably the feud of the year in 2005. You have Rey Mysterio versus... Rey Mysterio versus...
Triple H is a close second.
Yeah. Oh, not Undertaker versus Randy Orton?
That one's good. Top three right there.
For sure.
Have Cena angle. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. Go on.
Yeah. Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero, part 3 in WWE. The extra wrinkle added to this match, and we see Rey Mysterio interacting with fucking bleach blonde hair Dominic Mysterio at 8 years old. It's so fucking funny looking back at it. But Dominic is supposed to watch this match from ringside, and the gimmick is if Eddie Guerrero wins, he is going to reveal Rey Mysterio's secret. He is going to finish Uncle Eddie's bedtime story.
Yeah, and let me talk about this, because like I just finished saying, Eddie was in God mode. He was in God tier heel mode with this. Because
time out. I hope you're not just saying that because he found religion and he was in God mode.
No. I'm just saying he was fucking God himself.
Bad pun. I'm sorry.
So Eddie can't get over the fact that he can't be Rey. Like, everyone is telling him that. Rey's telling him that. Even though his own wife, Vicky, is saying you can't beat Rey. So Eddie has to do these undermined tactics to get under Rey's skin. And he tells Rey, I know your secret. You know I know your secret. And if you want me to keep my mouth shut about that, you're going to do everything that I say. And he is like forcing Rey to team up with him for the tag team titles. He's just like torturing this poor man. And
the irony.
Oh my God, this part is just like, Eddie, you bastard. He goes to a playground where Dominic is playing, and he calls Dominic. That scene just screams stranger danger to me. And Dominic sits on Eddie's lap and he says, hey, Dominic, you like bedtime stories? I love bedtime stories, Uncle Eddie. And it's like, oh, well, don't worry. After this, I'm going to give you the best bedtime story. And he gives Dom a hug, and that dastardly look on Eddie's face. Oh, my God.
I agree with everything you're saying. And I'm sorry I'm laughing, because looking back in hindsight at this whole entire angle, it's just wild knowing where Dominic's career eventually took him. Because you didn't know, he was only 8 years old. You didn't know that he was going to follow his father into the family business. You never would have guessed that. But here he was, and like hearing him say that in the fucking video package, like it still sounds like Dom, before he hit puberty, before his voice dropped. It's fucking wild to me. It is so wild.
Yeah, but again, they zoom in on that dastardly look on Eddie's face. And so basically, they have a match of Great American Bash to put this all away. If Eddie wins, he reveals the secret. But if Rey wins, Eddie keeps his mouth shut. And again, after watching that backstage segment where Rey is literally praying and he's with Dom, and like Dom saying he's scared and Rey says there's nothing to be scared about. After you see that segment, how do you not want Rey to go out there and just beat the piss out of Eddie?
Oh, and the announcers wanted Rey to beat the piss out of Eddie. I should also mention, Eddie Guerrero makes his entrance, and he looks fucking gigantic. Veins are popping out everywhere. Yeah, you could tell he was taking a lot of steroids. But in any case, Rey Mysterio comes out, makes his entrance. Dominic Mysterio has this glass-eyed expression, just staring a hole at the ring. Doesn't really want to be there. And this camera cuts to Dominic's reactions quite a bit throughout the match. But that did not stop me. That did not stop me from enjoying this match and how great it was. Easily.
No. Because here's the thing. Number one, even back in 2005, Michael Cole was in that super heated mode where he's just like so passionate about everything. How come everything involving Dominic just gets a rise out of Michael Cole? It's so crazy.
But
here's the thing.
Completely full circle. It's full circle, man.
is all there. And this just made for such a compelling story. At the beginning of the match, like Eddie goes up to Ray and he says, like, shake my hand, Ray. Shake my hand. He keeps looking at Dom, like, show him that we're friends and shake my hand. It's just like,
give me a hug, Holmes. You know?
Yeah, Eddie was, again, I can't, God mode.
And he's talking to Dominic while him and Ray are hugging in the middle of the ring, and he's like, see, little Dom, we're friends. We're friends, Holmes. You know, it's all good.
It's also so weird seeing Ray deliver a short arm clothesline. That is not a move you see him do.
No, but again, props to Rey Mysterio for adapting to the intensity of the story and for adapting his in-ring style to reflect that, because you don't really see a lot of high flying from Rey Mysterio in this match, at least not as much as you're used to. This is a very ground and pound style match. It's a very, I don't want to say slow paced, considering who we're talking about. It is
100% a grudge match.
Just like it was at Judgment Day.
This is what I noticed from the match. Ray is not performing his aerial offense to wow the crowd and have a good time. He's doing it because he knows this is how to beat Eddie. He knows how to beat Eddie, and it's to catch him off of his game. But again, I feel like this match, this was more storytelling more than anything.
Yeah. I mean, and the wrestling in this match and the snaps that Eddie gets off the inverted atomic drops, the tilt-a-whirl backbreakers. It's masterful. Masterful Lucha
Eddie
Libre.
And Ray just knew how to tell a story, whether it was at Halloween Havoc with the hair versus mask, the hair versus title mask debacle, whether it was, back at Judgment Day with the original term when it comes to adding Dom into the mix. It's like, again, any other wrestlers in this position, it would have been an awkward feud. But it's Ray and Eddie.
Yeah.
Vince tried to inject his really weirdness into this, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
Ray and Eddie just know how to do it.
They really do. They really do. No matter what kind of monkey wrench Vince wanted to throw into this feud. There were some great near falls throughout the entire match, but Eddie made me laugh so much. Because Rey Mysterio hits a 619 and a springboard senton for a 2. Eddie rolls outside for a breather, and he's like, he almost beat me, Holmes. He almost beat me. You don't say. He was that close.
Eddie uses Eddie uses Dom as a shield for Ray. If this was 2023, Ray probably would have just taken the swing. So weird now. It's so weird.
It's so weird.
At the time I was watching this show, I'm looking at that guy. I'm like, there's our North American champion.
That guy's armed and dangerous, Eddie. Don't touch him.
Yeah, he is. He's going to serve hard time.
Yeah, he is going to serve hard times. All of 3 hours, right?
That guy? Oh, it wasn't even 3 hours. It was like 45 minutes. But you see that guy over there? He likes chicken strips.
Dominic likes chicken strips?
See that guy over there? You're going to be jealous of him who you see who's on his arm in 2023.
Gary Ripley? But anyway, again, it's phenomenal Lucha Libre wrestling here. Ray goes for the 619. Guerrero moves out of the way and starts hitting the Three Amigos vertical suplexes. Ray moves out of the way of the frog splash, so Eddie walks back down. It's at this point in the match where Rey Mysterio has been humbled and beaten down by this man convincingly. And Eddie Guerrero starts to get a little bit cocky. It starts to feel a little bit too big for his britches. So, Ray rolls out of the way. Eddie just decides to saunter over to the other corner. Rey Mysterio doesn't know where he is. Eddie hits a frog splash, and Michael Cole is just calling for this match to be over. Like, no more punishment, no mas, Eddie. He tells Dominic to watch as he pins his father, and he does the lazy boy thing where he lays back. He goes to cover Ray. 1, 2. Ray grabs Eddie. He was playing possum. 1, 2, 3. And Rey Mysterio gets one over on Eddie. He pulls a fast one. Steals a victory from Eddie Guerrero. No pun intended, of course. Dominic.
This is the only time I like a finish like this.
Yeah, Dominic. It was perfect. It was absolutely perfect because Eddie Guerrero thought he had Ray beat. And then Ray makes one big, gigantic fourth quarter comeback. And he pulls out the win by hook or by crook. And Ray's secret is not ever revealed. It's not ever revealed. The feud surely is over at this point. Dominic Mysterio runs over to Rey Mysterio. They hug it out on the ramp. Eddie is frustrated out of his mind. I mean, this is great. This is easily
for SummerSlam and one of the most infamous matches of all time.
Yeah.
I want to give this 4 stars, but I feel like that's lowballing it a little. But you know what?
Dude, I'm going 4.5 on this one. This was definitely better than their Judgment Day match, and the finish of this. I mean, again, the DQ finish at Judgment Day absolutely made sense, but you still wanted to tell the story that Eddie Guerrero could not technically beat Rey Mysterio on paper. So you have this here, a small package, a roll up, a victory roll, however you want to describe it. Once again, Eddie Guerrero cannot beat Rey Mysterio. And his frustration is completely past a boiling point here, you know? And as you said, I joked that this is the end of the feud. It's a perfect way to cap off the rivalry and not reveal the secret, but...
even SummerSlam's not the end of the feud.
There is one more match at SummerSlam that we will talk about. But after
SummerSlam, they have 2 more matches. This feud goes...
Do they?
They have another match on SmackDown, and then they have a steel cage match as the blow-up.
I remember the cage match. I don't remember the match in between, though.
You don't remember that gigantic bruise that was on Eddie's abdomen?
No.
Look it up. It's a great match. It's on SmackDown. It's after SummerSlam, so it's probably like in September.
Okay.
But no, Rey and Eddie wrestle on SmackDown, and during the match, there's this gigantic bruise that forms on Eddie's abdomen. And they talk about it a lot.
Oh boy,
it's a very underrated match in my opinion. But
okay, I'll have to take a look at that then. Yeah. All right, yeah, one more pay-per-view match. Yeah, it was easily the match of the night, 100%, no question about it. Nothing else even came close to topping this.
Oh yeah, this is definitely match of the night. And then man, I got all the shitty ones.
We have an attraction.
Boys and girls.
We have an attraction match.
Back in my day, we had this match called a Bra and Panties Match.
Yeah, unfortunately.
For those of you who are keeping score at home, like that wasn't the point of this match. You win the match by stripping them down to their bra and panties. Very weird to say out loud. Wow, we've come a long way. It's Melina versus Torrie Wilson. What do you want me to say about this match?
I mean, nothing.
What do you want from me, man? What do you want from me?
Nothing.
Just a boy.
Nothing. I mean, we don't really have to rate or even talk about this match. This is absolutely a buffer match between Eddie versus Rey in the main event. The only real things to note in this thing are, number one, Melina wins. And the whole story was Melina is calling Torrie Wilson a has-been, which is hilarious thinking about it, because Torrie Wilson, far from a has-been. And for some reason, she gets traded over to Raw after this match. So, I mean, it kind of makes sense why she would have lost, because Vince is sending her over to the other show. But
she gets drafted to Raw, and then she forms a faction, and she has this dog named Chloe that actually gets a spot on the roster, which is really weird.
And that's another thing. This match is also the fans' introduction to the special referee for this contest, Candice Michelle. And Candice Michelle
is right.
Yeah, Candice Michelle is going to be a very important part of the women's division for the next couple of years.
And may I quote the boys over at Deadlock for a second? You said Candice Michelle. Golly.
Mm-hmm.
All I have to say about that.
Yeah, that's all I got to say about that. I mean, what do you really want us to say about this match? I mean, I'm going to repeat what Tomas said, and I'm going to address it to the viewers. What do you want from us? What do you want from us to talk about? I mean, there's nothing to talk about, really.
Yeah, if you put a gun up to my head, I'd probably be like, okay, they rolled around for a bit, and clothes came off, and it's not
0 stars. 0 stars.
It wasn't offensive like the 6-man tag, but you know what? Let me give you an opportunity to tell a very awkward story from my childhood. So there was this group of kids. We went to their house, and they were playing SmackDown. Here Comes the Pain, one of my favorite video games ever. I wanted to play it. For some reason, they only wanted to do the Bra and Panties match. And I'm like, guys, can we do a tag team match?
Elimination Chamber? Elimination Chamber?
Like,
yeah.
You want to look at the guys? No, back to the bra and panties. I'm like,
there's literally so many other matches that you could do on that game, and that I remember that match being heavily marketed as a new match type that you could do in that game. But I also remember that was the game that introduced the Elimination Chamber to wrestling video game fans, and that was a very popular match type as well. But it's funny that they went to the other one. It's really, really funny that your friends went to the other one and not Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, friends. I don't even remember what their names were. It's just like, it was like masculinity complex. Like, no, we're playing this wrestling game, but we're only going to play a sexy match. It's like, what is wrong with you? What's the matter with you? It's like wanting to play Mario Kart, but then just going to the main menu and just listening to the music.
Yeah. It's also, going to the main menu, listening to the music, and just looking at Princess Peach the entire time. Like,
thank you.
How stupid is that?
Thank you.
How stupid is that? But really nothing to report on that one. But oh boy, let's get into this main event, shall we? It is JBL challenging Batista for the World Heavyweight title. Yes, Batista was just on Raw, but he was the final pick of the 2005 draft lottery. Basically, the brands were swapping world champions. Batista is heading over to the Blue Show. Yeah, and Michael Cole and Taz are gushing over this, saying that SmackDown has hit the jackpot. And this is actually, Batista's introduction came after JBL won that aforementioned six-pack challenge for the SmackDown Championship. Could you imagine an alternate timeline where JBL becomes the SmackDown champion?
You know what bugs me to this day? We talked about that six-pack challenge for the SmackDown Championship. JBL ends up winning it, and Teddy Long tells JBL, I got some good news and I got some bad news. The good news is you are going to win. You are now the number one contender for the championship, but we don't need a SmackDown championship. And Teddy Long has a bag. To this day, I want to know what was in that bag.
It was probably just a replica of the Undisputed Championship. Just bringing that back.
It's like, remember when you were a kid and you were playing a video game and you reached like the boundaries of the game and you wondered, wow, what's behind this invisible wall? And when you're an adult, you realize, oh no, that's just the limit of the game. That was like, to me, like in my mind, in my childhood mind, I'm like, there was a SmackDown championship in that bag, and I want to know what it looked like. And again, as an adult, it's like it was nothing.
I bet our buddy Skylar wants to know what the SmackDown Championship looks like, so we could buy it, right?
Yeah, I'm sure he would. But
yeah, just like too bad.
It was the TNT title.
Oh God. Could you imagine JBL like at the
it was the Legends title.
Could you imagine JBL like trading stocks on Wall Street with the SmackDown Championship?
The non-existent SmackDown Championship.
Yeah. Could you imagine Batista at Outback Steakhouse with the World Heavyweight Championship?
Batista is now on SmackDown, and they make note of this during Batista's entrance. Batista is the first wrestler to defend a World Championship on both a Raw and a SmackDown pay-per-view in the span of one month. Also, let me remind you, at Vengeance, I said that was the only time both world championships were defended on a Raw brand pay-per-view. So I think that's pretty cool that there were like little-known statistics there. Also, the build to this match.
Yeah, go ahead.
The build to this match is pretty simple. Batista's on SmackDown now, and JBL is still doing that weird thing where he's guaranteeing stuff. He says, I guarantee I will beat Batista at the Bash. Remember that for later. And Batista said, well, I guarantee I'm going to whoop your ass right now.
I guarantee you, Batista, I'm winning this match. Keep that in mind. So
JBL comes out dressed as Uncle Sam. It's a very, very, very
long
entrance.
It's a WrestleMania style entrance once again on the Great American Bash. JBL comes out in the Star Spangled clothes. And legit, this guy's coming off like the fucking president. He's like coming out and he's handing out mini American flags to the fans. He's coming off like a total babyface, total American nightmare.
Spanish commentators, which is hilarious.
Oh my God, that motherfucker. He hands a tiny American flag to Taz, and Taz is just kind of like, "Hey, American flag, Cole. Look at that." Like
These
he's
are
just
the
being
weird
Taz.
things I think about when I'm watching these shows. I want to know if there's somebody out there that kept one of those flags.
Oh man, just like that lady kept a Bradshaw dollar and then started cheering for John Cena.
Yeah, but also it's like those little. We're talking about $1 million company, and they probably got those like at the dollar store.
I mean, those are the same kind of American flags that I see in the local 4th of July parade every year. Like, I know they got those at Dollar Tree. I know they did. Like,
I know they probably just sent some random intern. It's like, hey, go buy just like 50 these little flags at dollar store. Here's my credit card.
Well, yeah. But Batista gets a normal ass entrance. He has buzzed off some of his hair. He walks out to "I Walk Alone," of course, which is one of the greatest wrestling theme songs of all time for any wrestler. Sue me. That is one of the greatest wrestler theme songs. "I Walk Alone."
Also, top 3 Saliva songs.
Yeah, don't believe me? Ask Austin Creed. Don't just ask him. Listen to him sing the song. It's
Hell
yeah. So Batista and JBL get in the ring. And Michael Cole is marketing this as the match that could have main evented WrestleMania this year. Boy, howdy.
God didn't.
If this match headlined WrestleMania, it probably wouldn't have been remembered as one of our favorite WrestleManias ever, because this match was boring. Like, it was so incredibly slow for a world title match. If you thought that John Cena versus JBL at WrestleMania was as plain as it gets, this match took it a step and a notch below that.
This match literally put me to sleep.
Yeah. Tomas texted me that, and I'm like, that doesn't surprise me. That does not surprise me at all.
For 19 minutes.
It went for 19 minutes, and
I can't remember a goddamn thing they did in this match.
Can't remember a goddamn spot. I do know that there is a Nick Patrick ref bump, which is always one of my favorite ref bumps of all time, just because of how Nick Patrick sells it. It's always one of my favorites when Nick Patrick does it. Orlando Jordan. Oh boy, Orlando Jordan runs out to the ring to run interference.
We get to the finish of this match, because I know that we just talked about Batista having one of the greatest Hell in a Cell matches of all time against Triple H, and those two clicked so well together. It just has to be said, Batista, even though he's been unshackled, he's been unleashed, no pun intended. He's been sent over to the other show. It's basically like, we've done everything we can with you. You're gone from your faction where, your mentor is giving you everything that you can. It's time for you to sink or swim on your own as the world champion of another show. I still will defend Batista to my dying day. He was ready. He was over. But to put him in a match with a guy like JBL, where Batista can't produce excellent matches on his own. And, JBL is a pioneer of the game. He's been in this for a long time.
Sure.
He's just not, it just didn't work.
He is not a master of ring psychology like Triple H is. This match played so against Bradshaw's strengths as a worker. Because if you think back to Bradshaw's entire career at this point, what do you think were JBL's best matches? Like, just go ahead and list off a couple, just off the top of your head.
The ones where he brawled.
The ones where he brawled, and also the ones with stipulations is what I remember.
Exactly.
The I Quit match.
Wrestling wasn't the focal point of the match.
Yep, the I Quit matches, the Last Ride matches, the I'll say it, Last Man Standing matches, of course. You also have the
barbed wire steel cage matches.
Yeah, I mean, even though he was kind of miscast in that, and it probably would have worked better with 2 other wrestlers, but the Texas Bull Rope match. The best match that Batista and JBL ever had was on the first edition of Friday Night SmackDown, and they had a Texas Bull Rope match for this title. Where was this match? Where was that match on the Great American Bash? Where was that?
Not to bury the lead. Oh, what the hell? I don't care. I'll bury the lead. They have another match at SummerSlam. I think it's decent.
Yeah, no, the match at SummerSlam is 100% better than this one.
But yeah, when it's just a pure wrestling match here, and let me tell you, that Bull Rope match and the No Holds Barred match, that's the only time Batista and JBL get it. Because I remember they have a match in 2008, which fucking sucks. These are not 2 guys you want to put together.
Yeah, you're starting to sense a theme here. If you're going to put Batista and JBL in the ring together, Batista, of course, is not going to like give you a technically brilliant wrestling match. He's a hoss, and it doesn't really play to his strengths. Bradshaw is another big hoss, and again, you're not going to get a 5-star masterpiece wrestling match out of Bradshaw unless you put him in there with the right opponent, like a Chris Benoit, like a Shawn Michaels, like a Kurt Angle. Batista and JB, if you're going to put those two in the ring together, you got to put some sort of hardcore stipulation on there somewhere. Yeah, something that plays to both guys' strengths.
But
a normal,
you know damn well why they went this way. Because they wanted the feud to continue, and they can do what they did at the end of this match.
So Orlando Jordan introduces a steel chair. The referee is coming too. Batista wallops Orlando as hard as he can with the steel chair. Batista nails Bradshaw in the head with the chair. Referee Nick Patrick sees it. DQ. Fuck this. Fuck this. You just wasted 20 minutes of our time in a boring-ass main event.
Out of our wallets.
It's a Vince McMahon specialty to fuck you out of your money. End your pay-per-view with a DQ. And that is not the last time we talk about this in 2005, mind you. Vince McMahon did this all the time. All the time. Okay?
If you're gonna do the DQ finish, I kind of get it. I don't like it because look what we got nowadays. Triple H rarely relies on DQs. It's a cop-out. But also, if you're gonna do it, don't make it the last match of the show.
On a pay-per-view! On a pay-per-view!
Yeah.
It's...
This became such a trope that I remember I would watch wrestling with my family, and if it was a match between two big stars, they would always say the same thing. Oh, it's gonna end in a DQ. Why does it gotta end in a DQ all the time? Like I said, there's gotta be a winner and there's gotta be a loser. You can still make the rematch without having such a cop-out decision. And I hated this. I'll give this match 1 star. And that 1 star is for the chair shot that he gave Orlando Jordan.
Jesus, yeah. 1 star for me also. I don't want to say... Was this the worst main event we've talked about in this retro so far? Like...
that's a good question.
I mean...
2005? Yes.
Yeah. Worst main event of 2005 for sure. And every single...
So far.
Yeah.
I need to look later into the year and find out if there's any worse.
I don't think so. I really don't think so. Because, I mean, aside from one...
the gun, but does Cena Angle Unforgiven? Does that go... I feel like that goes to a DQ too.
That is a DQ as well, but at least that is a well-worked match up until the DQ. That plays to both guys' strengths, But I don't know what else to tell you guys. Batista celebrates up the ramp. I mean, if you're going to have Batista do this celebration, why not just have him beat JBL clean? Why not just have him do that?
So he goes up the ramp, and the announcer says, and your winner of the match is JBL. Why does that make Batista so mad? So what?
So what? Like, you kept your title, Dave. You kept it.
Yeah, so he goes back down. Batista bombs JBL just to send the fans home happy. But, okay, let me tell you all a story. I was in the audience for the Bash 2009. And Randy Orton retained the WWE title against Triple H in a very bullshit way. After the show, my family was like, let's go. I found out later on that Triple H hit Randy Orton with the sledgehammer. That wouldn't have made me happy. Babyface still lost. So it's like, I'm not saying Babyface go over in every single pay-per-view main event, but this weird cop-out thing they do to send the fans home happy is just, no.
Yeah, it's... Vince McMahon trying to be a businessman and keep his fans' money in his wallet. But
JBL already lost the title. He already lost the rematch. So what if he loses again after this? So what? He's not going to go anywhere near the world title after this.
Nope. After this feud, again, you want to talk about careers flatlining. I don't want to say JBL's career completely flatlined because he is going to be a constant in more ways than one over the next number of years on this retro.
He's a good go-to guy for an easy feud, sure, but he's not going to be... This would be it for like his main event pay-per-view run.
He's not going to touch a world championship ever again. So I hope you enjoyed that 9-month reign. Yeah, so...
He served his purpose.
Yep. So Batista leaves, and the show goes off the air on a DQ. This is an interesting show, because looking back at it, and after talking about it, I feel like I have a better like outlook at how I actually feel on this. I feel like this show is better than I thought it was before we started recording.
I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
It was a very solid Eddie Ray match. I dug Booker and Christian. I thought Jordan and Benoit was decent. Props to Taker and Hassan just for making that match memorable. And everything else was just either bad or just there.
Yeah. Because of all of what you just said, I'm actually going to go a 5 out of 10. Okay. Because, I feel like it's crazy saying that I think this might just be the weakest pay-per-view of 2005 when the weakest pay-per-view of the last retro year we did was a 1 out of 10. I mean, this is a big step up from something like a Judgment Day 04. I think
still be mad if you spent $40 on this pay-per-view for that finish alone.
Yeah.
I did. Sorry, Mom, for wasting $40 of your money.
Yep, I apologize to my dad for the same thing because I watched this pay-per-view live when I was a kid.
Wasn't the first time, and I'm sorry, Mom, it won't be the last time you waste
We'll get to some of those, but guys, Thank you so much again for tuning in, and another great year of ZNT wrestling shows over here. This looks like it's I mean, barring any sort of technicalities, this is 99.9% likely the last ZNT wrestling show you're going to get in 2023. Thank you so much, everybody.
That does not mean we will be reviewing World's End. It just won't be in 2023. It's probably going to be in 2024.
Yeah.
Just, World's End is coming up. SummerSlam 2005 is next on deck for the retro. We're talking about wanting to do a retro Royal Rumble because the Royal Rumble's coming up. And you're goddamn right, we're going to review the Royal Rumble. It's my favorite pay-per-view of the year.
Of course we are. Of course we are. I feel
like we don't even need to say that anymore. Whatever's on deck next for WWE and AEW, we will be reviewing it. Yep,
absolutely. So keep tabs with us. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. Tap that thumbs up as well. That would be a huge help. And let us know what you thought of Great American Bash 05 down in the comments. If you guys sat through this show recently for whatever reason, I mean, the only match you should really go out of your way to watch is Ray versus Eddie, I feel like. Slight asterisk next to Booker and Christian. I mean, you can watch that match for shits and giggles just to see what you think. But yeah, guys, I think that's going to about wrap it up. And thanks for tuning in.